Here they come.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for
Good
joining
morning.
us.
Good morning.
Hello. Oh, I love hearing what a friendly crowd today. I love it. Thanks for coming off mute, folks. So good to hear your voices and see some faces. Welcome to the morning meeting. We are so excited to be showcasing my colleague Marti Ridley today. I'll give her bio in a moment before she teaches us all the ins and outs of social media and the year of 2025 and how we can use it to be really effective advocates. But before I do that, I am going to try to give a really brief budget update on where things are at the State House. Our team has been over there all week, back and forth, which is great. Leanne is actually about to testify in Children and Human Services Committee this morning. So she's going to cover all of our policy agenda related to the governor's expanded child care eligibility rates, the child tax credit, investments in early intervention, infant vitality, literacy, kindergarten readiness, and all of the great things that we're hoping to protect in the House this budget cycle and then eventually in the Senate and Conference Committee. So that's happening later this morning. I know a lot of our colleagues are over there as well from partner organizations today because this is all of the public testimony related to Department of Children and Youth this morning. So it's a big day for our industry and our space. We also testified yesterday on the child tax credit in the Ways and Means Committee. So that was a new experience for Groundwork. We're used to being in more of the Human Service Committee space. But we did hear some really supportive comments around the investment in the child tax credit from some of the majority members. Fair amount of skepticism around tobacco tax being increased at the rate that's been proposed to support this tax credit. So I think that conversation is definitely evolving in the legislature, and we should be prepared to hear new numbers out of the House because there are some folks who are worried about the impact on wholesale distributors of tobacco and tobacco retail and other tobacco products, cigarette tax and other tobacco products. So that was testimony this week. We are also planning on offering some Medicaid public testimony next week, not around a specific line item, but just doing some education with the Ohio House Medicaid Committee on the importance of Medicaid for coverage for moms, young families, young children, babies, toddlers, preschoolers. So we're excited to be a part of that conversation as well. We are hearing that there will also be one more shot at public testimony in the Children and Human Services Committee on Wednesday, March 5th. So if you weren't able to get it together for today, but you would like to submit written or try to come in person, they're going to have committee on Wednesday, either at 3 p.m. or after session, whichever comes first. So they haven't listed any specific agency, but I think anything related to children and the budget would be appropriate for Wednesday. And that would need to be submitted by Tuesday at 3 p.m. There's a 24-hour notice. If you don't have the witness slip, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll throw my email in the chat. I feel like everybody has seen more of it than they want, but I'm happy to shoot over a witness slip your way as well. And we have a testimony toolkit on our website too, which I bet Sarah will link in the chat if I ask her nicely, that you're welcome to use if that helps set you up for success. So I don't want to take too much longer because I know Marti has a really excellent presentation. I'll just note for the Senate, we're anticipating hearings to start March 31st. So the budget should move over to the Senate by the first week of April, essentially. We might have public testimony in House Finance the week of March 11th, 12th, 13th, which is the same week as our Advocacy Day. So if you're coming down here for that, fingers crossed that they'll line up our content area with our Advocacy Day. That would be incredible if folks could testify while they're in town. But we just don't have a breakdown since they're covering every single state agency in full finance of which agencies are which day. So I know that's a lot. We'll keep pushing this out in our newsletter and all of our email communications. And if you ever have questions about all of these moving dates, please feel free to just contact one of us and we're happy to help you out. With that, if you have questions about the budget, email me or put it in the chat and I'll do my best to respond. But now I want to pass it over to my friend and colleague, Marti Ridley. Marti is our digital communications director here at Groundwork, Ohio. She beats me to the office every single day, and I come into that beautiful giant smile and her warm energy. And she is such an excellent champion for kids as a mom herself, and as someone who's been in the leadership of her local Head Start provider with her kiddos growing up for quite over 16 years. You've been engaged with them, right, Marti? So I'll read a little bit more of her bio. She comes to us from the United Way of Central Ohio. And in her role here at Groundwork, where she started this past fall, she builds awareness of our expertise in policy advocacy, working through effective and strategic online and digital engagement. Marti is our analytics guru, and so she focuses on those analytics to help us engage internal and external stakeholders to engage with our mission and translate all of the data we produce into actionable insights that we hope will make Ohio the best place to be a young child. So as I mentioned, she comes to us from the local United Way, and her innovative approach to digital marketing and her ability to design compelling, beautiful graphics and documents helped effectively communicate the organization's mission and now ours. In her decades-long nonprofit career, Marti has also demonstrated her commitment to this sector in a number of roles, from data management to adult education programming, special events planning. She is our events detail guru and resource development support. So we are thrilled to have her on the team. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Marti.
Thank you, Brittany. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for some patience while I am sharing a screen here for you. And we'll get started. Let's get into it. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Since I started with Groundwork Ohio in November, I have just fallen in love with the idea of the morning meeting. I love that it's the same time every week. It's brief and you can get concise information in the time that it takes you to finish your cup of coffee or your donuts sometimes if you're like me. So thank you for tuning in today to learn about my favorite social media tips. As Brittany mentioned, I have a huge heart for all things early childhood, and I've dedicated my career to the nonprofit sector in roles that have touched everything from special events to adult education, advocacy, fundraising, marketing, communications, and then my absolute favorite, which is social media. So I am happy to share with you some tips that have served me best, especially when I've worked on a small team. So you one-person teams know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. All right, so I like to revisit the definition of social media when I'm teaching about it. I believe that understanding the functionality of social media can help put some purpose behind your posts. So, what is social media? It's X, it's Blue Sky, it's LinkedIn, it's Meta, it's YouTube. Yes, it is all of those. And those are all digital platforms which facilitate communication, collaboration, and some community building among individuals, organizations, and networks. Social media allows users to form online communities. We can share information across social media. We can engage in discussions. I am sure that many of your personal social media threads probably have some discussions that are going on right now that you're keeping a pulse on, and that makes it a powerful tool for professional purposes. My absolute favorite thing about social media is that it is free. Free 99, no cost whatsoever. So not using it is missing an opportunity for free marketing. So we are not doing that in 2025. Each of your organizations has a mission, a message to share, a call to action, and a purpose to invite people to engage in. So, sometimes people are like, but Marti, we don't even have a social media person. I'm a staff of one. Yes, I see you and I salute you. And I am going to hold your hand as I say this. We can do it. Okay. I'm going to help you. All right, so let's get into our tips here. Tip number one, share and show the plan. I have learned in a couple of decades in the nonprofit sector that we cannot work in silos. Everyone in your organization can help with the lift for social media. In my experience, buy-in from colleagues has been the number one determinant of our organization's performance on social media, our number one. And that is because if your staff understands the importance of using this free marketing to support the mission, you'll have engagement from your closest circle, and that's how you start to build presence online. Every single like and every comment and every reshare can improve algorithms for you, and that helps your exposure rates. It helps how many eyes are able to see the content that you're putting out on social media. So even if it's just an emoji comment, I like to start small with encouraging your staff and your board to follow your accounts. So at the next staff meeting or the next board meeting or the next time you have communications going out to the board, just have a little note in there that says, make sure you're following us on these platforms. And then when you get to the staff meeting or you get to the board meeting, give them a specific task. Ask them to put a heart emoji under this post next week. You know that Groundwork Ohio is in the thick of budget season. So we might ask our board members or some of our stakeholders, hey, if you're engaging with our comment, show some support, help us get some traction with this by adding a blue heart to our posts about the budget updates. And then I've also had some success with incentivizing that type of engagement. So maybe it's a shout out in the next all staff meeting or a candy bar with a little note of thanks. I have also found success with using visual reminders. So if you're able to add your social media handles to your email signature, that's an easy one that we have just a little picture of right there. And if you are in the office full time and maybe it's a high traffic office, consider maybe adding a QR code that links to your website, like at your front door. So those are ways that you can be driving people back to your social media to see your content on a regular basis. Tip number 2, content creation. Work smarter, not harder. So on your small but mighty teams, let's start working smarter. I am going to encourage you to create content, cut and copy. So what I mean by that is creating content once and then try to get at least 4 to 5 uses out of it. So that means creating content, something like a blog or an email newsletter. And then once that's created and written, you just cut that content down into smaller bites. So maybe it's you're separating 4 of the strongest sentences from your newsletter. And then with those, you copy into smaller bites and you just copy and paste them over to your other social media platforms. So on this next slide, I just have an example of us doing exactly that. So we created a blog post that lives on our website. Then we cut down the post and kept the strongest points to put on a little graphic for social media. And then we copy that over to all of our social media platforms and place it in our weekly newsletter. So you can do this too. I promise. If you need a pep talk, you just call me. I am your personal cheerleader, and we are here to celebrate your wins and engage with your content online. Tip number 3, functionalize the free. So take advantage of free tools. You know what a small budget loves? For all those people that are like, we don't have a marketing budget. A small budget loves free. Just ask your CFO, okay? I promise. Free is my absolute favorite. Many programs and platforms are available at a reduced price or for free for nonprofits and small businesses. Some of my personal favorites are Canva and Linktree. Nonprofits do get a free upgrade to their premium packages on each of those platforms. And you don't have to out yourself if you're guilty of this, but when you know better, you do better. One of the reasons that I like using Linktree is that you can, um, let's say, have you ever seen an organization post on social media, specifically Instagram, and put like a really long link in their caption, one of the links that you can't actually tap or click on? It's frustrating, right? I know, I know. So there are workarounds that I love sharing with people, and that's with Linktree. You can use a platform like that that can create a landing page for all of the links that you'd like to share on social media. So that way you can easily direct people to link in bio instead of having to include a long link in your caption. Groundwork Ohio uses Linktree, and I've also used platforms like Flow Page in the past with previous employers. But that is just a little screenshot there of what our Linktree landing page looks like, and we are able to easily update new links with whatever relevant or timely communication we need to share. Tip number 4, an easy one, my personal favorite. Smiles translate to likes. These are the posts that perform well. People want to see faces. As much as we are connected to our phones and our mobile devices, we are all looking for human connection. So there is still a chemical in the brain that lights up our synapses when we see another human face. It's science, okay? It's science. So, in addition to faces that are smiling and looking directly at cameras, short video performs best across all channels. So it does not matter if it is TikTok, it does not matter if it is X, if it is LinkedIn, videos do the best. The next best thing is a photo of a real person smiling. So not like a cartoon or an icon, but an actual human person that's smiling. Um, Another tip that I like to share, you do not need a professional photographer to get good photos. All of our smartphones these days have really nice quality cameras on them. And so I just recommend that all you have to do is ask, when you're at a meeting or when you are having a board meeting, or even if you're doing a virtual meeting, I just ask people, hey, do you mind if I get a quick photo of us before we meet? We're so excited to partner with you and we want to share it in our newsletter. That simple. Tip number 5, don't be shy with shout outs. This concept is also known as social flirting. So a little wave, a little hello, a little heart, a like, something to let other accounts know that you are interested in their content. So start by following your partners on social media. This will make it easier to tag them when you post later because you won't have to spend as much time searching for them. And then tag your people. If you are posting about a funder, a corporate partner, a school, a volunteer, identify their correct social media handle, and then be sure to tag them by name in your captions into the image if possible. Following best practice, I only tag individuals on LinkedIn because it's assumed that that's their professional account, but you can always ask anyone that you're photographing or featuring on your social media if they would like any personal accounts tagged as well. My rule of thumb for tagging individual people on other platforms like Instagram or Facebook is to only tag them if they have first tagged the organization. Speaking of tagging others, I also want to touch on the use of hashtags to improve performance on your posts. So, tip number 6, hashtag usage. Hashtags can be a little bit overwhelming, but they are helpful for getting your content seen by more users, including those that might not follow you. So, always start with your organization's main hashtag. So, for example, with us, it's always hashtag Groundwork Ohio. And then I do recommend adding at least one hashtag that aligns with something that is relevant or timely for what's going on. So I call them hashtag holidays, but things like tapping into something like Valentine's Day that you can see that we did. We added some hearts, things like that are an easy way to expand your exposure so that more people are seeing your content. For Instagram, you can add hashtags in a comment after you post your image and your caption, and that keeps your caption from being really long. All right, so to recap our social media tips, okay? Number 1, share and show the plan. Get your team and your board engaged. Number 2, create, cut, copy. Get several uses out of whatever you are creating. Maximize your time. Number 3, functionalize the free. Take advantage of those free platforms. If you need any help with those or suggestions, please do reach out. I do love this stuff and I'm excited to help you. 4, smiles and videos. A picture of someone smiling will always attract a viewer. 5, shout outs, tag your people, show them some gratitude, let them know you appreciate them, and engage with other organizations on social media. So drop a heart in their comments, hit the like button when you're watching things. And 6, hashtags. Always use your organization's tagline and then include any other hashtag that is appropriate and aligns with other widely recognized themes. Okay, so before we open the floor to questions, I would be remiss if I did not ask you to make sure you are following Groundwork Ohio on all of the platforms that your organization uses. I will make sure that we are following you back, and we'd love to start engaging with your content. So we do have a huge advocacy day coming up on March 12th, and we are looking forward to engaging our stakeholders in person and online throughout the day, and we'd love for all of you to be a part of that. Our Advocacy Day is a critical opportunity to raise our voices for Ohio's youngest children, the families that care for them, and the systems that help them thrive. So we invite all of you to join the movement on March 12th to help us inspire and motivate lawmakers to take action. We have some incredible reports and fact sheets that always are accessible on our website. So you can read and share those on Advocacy Day and, of course, at any time. So we have been thrilled to have met capacity for the event, and we are looking forward to engaging advocates from across the state, both in person and then at the event and online. So if you're able to register in time to participate in person, that's fantastic. We're so excited to have you. And if not, no worries. You do not have to have FOMO. There are multiple ways that you can engage, so you can kind of choose your own path. So you can register to attend our advocacy training webinar on March 4th. There's a little QR code for you there if you'd like to take a screenshot. You can watch the State of the State address at noon on March the 12th via the Ohio government channel. You can post photos or videos using the hashtag Advocacy Day 25 to help us boost visibility. And we always invite you to tag your state legislators with personal messages about childcare and early learning. So we will have a recording of our keynote speaker, Jill Miller, an amazing author and sponsor of the event. So we will be sharing that online and invite you to share with us as well. Again, we thank you so much for engaging with us online. We cannot wait to see you on social and engage with and share your content. So if we have time for any questions, I would love to take some.
Thank you so much, Marty. We've got Jennifer Foster has her hand up. Jennifer, if you would like to come off mute, you're welcome to.
So my grandma duty, so you're going to hear a kid in the background.
It wouldn't be groundwork if we didn't
We
say
love
bring the
kids.
kids.
My question is to you is I'm new to sharing on Facebook. When I became a doula, they set up my Facebook account. That was many years ago. But I'm not good with the QR code and I want to get better in sharing and not just sharing, but say for instance, like last week, I'm part of Amnesty International. And I wanted to share that, but I also wanted to share the people that was in the picture, and I didn't know how to do that. First of all, I'm 60 years old and I'm trying to learn.
Lifelong learner. I love it, Jennifer. So I think QR codes, when you're using them on social media, usually when people are accessing social media, they're on their phone. So QR codes aren't as effective if you're trying to make a post. One of the things that I would recommend for you as someone that's new to using social media and kind of sharing the work that you're doing, I think as long as you are capturing a picture of your group that you're with, or even a selfie, like when you're there, sometimes you're not in a place where you can take a picture of a meeting, but even getting a quick picture to say, hey, I'm downtown or I'm at the State House or I'm really excited to walk into this meeting at Groundwork Ohio, and it's a quick selfie of you. That is more than enough to start generating some interest in what you're posting about. And I think you're already on the right path. Even if you weren't able to tag all of the specific people, if you're able to tag the organization or the business, that's a great start. And then it's always nice to shout out people by names if you have them. So even if you can't necessarily link a Facebook profile to each of those people, even mentioning them by name is helpful. So, but truly, any support that you need, please reach out to me. I would love to be helpful.
Yes, ma'am.
Also,
Thank you. Because I'm tied into a lot of organizations.
Yeah, we appreciate everything you're doing.
I would also say, Miss Jennifer, that the fact that you were on Zoom and raised your hand and did the unmute, that half the time I can't get that together. So I think you're more tech savvy than you are giving yourself credit for. Um, our friend Rachel Selby is in the chat and read recently that hashtags on Twitter are no longer needed. Is that true across platforms? Can you speak to that a little bit, Marty?
Sure, Rachel, that's a great question. I appreciate that. So in the communication sector, I think people are trying to ride the wave of some of the changes on X, or formerly known as Twitter. So I have not heard yet that the hashtags are not needed. I think it always helps you tap into an algorithm though. And so across other platforms, I specifically like using hashtags on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Instagram, you can kind of get a little lost in them, but I have found some success in adding the hashtag local and explore to any posts. If you are a nonprofit, you can also do nonprofits of Instagram, and that helps get you exposure to some much wider networks. For LinkedIn specifically, because you're working with professionals and retirees there, you're able to really, really hone in on some specific things. So if it's a hashtag that just says policy or a hashtag that just says childcare, even if your specific content is not addressing childcare directly, but that's something that your organization is, um, you know, sharing content about or is interested in or is their mission is driven by, you can always you are always driving um more interaction engagement with your content by anyone that has shown any signs of being interested in childcare or policy. So I don't think that using hashtags could be harmful. I would always recommend using them, even if it's just one or two with each post.
Thanks, Marty, and thanks, Rachel, for the question.
Yeah.
I see Bianca's got her hand up as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Brittany, I think I might have met you last week. Were you at the local preschool
Yes.
partners meeting? Okay.
Yes. Nice to see
Yeah.
you
Okay.
again.
Good
You
to
look
Good to
see
familiar and I
see
couldn't
you.
you.
figure it out.
I Good morning, Marty. So I manage social media, marketing communications with Future Ready 5. I actually share a cubicle wall with your friend Megan, so I have heard your name many times. And she just speaks very highly of you, so it's nice to finally meet you, sort of. But so my question is actually in relation to this work that you are doing with the legislature and how you're going to be building a campaign around this. And so I'm curious because we are actually doing a similar thing. We actually will have some testimony that we are presenting next week, and we have parents and directors from and teachers from the preschool centers that we work with that are going to be providing testimony. And so I'm just kind of curious, like I know you had kind of talked about like building a campaign around like a blog post and then chopping that up and doing posts similar to that. Are you going to be doing a similar kind of strategy with the testimonies that you're presenting this week, or like could you just kind of give me some
I'm
guidance
so
there?
glad you asked about this because we are in the thick of this week, and it has
Oh,
been
yay.
um, the best words I can say, it has been feverish and fun. And as a marketing and comms professional that I love this stuff, like I've been so excited about it. So in the same way that I had mentioned like create content, cut and copy. Our team has gotten written testimony from our staffers that are testifying for the different House bills. So we are able to capture that in writing first. From there, we do post something to our website that says, Linnea Gutierrez provided testimony on House Bill 96 on Tuesday. Read her testimony here. So that is on the website. And then because we had to provide testimony in advance, we know we already had the written content. We know that people have to read exactly what they submit. So we already had those things that we could use for social media graphics. So ahead of the actual in-person reading of the testimony, I was able to create graphics, social media captions. And so we are watching the Ohio channel live. And as soon as we have our staffer giving testimony, I am hitting go on social media on graphics that have already been created and are saying the same exact things that are quoted in testimony. So we are making sure that we have alignment across our messaging. So whether that's a newsletter on the website, on social media, everybody's getting those same pieces of content, but it's taking us a little bit of preparation, a little bit of lead time. So Bianca, though, since you guys are doing
I love
testimony
that.
too, if you want to
Mhm.
connect one-on-one, happy to chat about it.
Thank you so much. I would love that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, good luck next week. That's really exciting. Awesome. Any last questions? We have a couple minutes left. I know a couple folks are transitioning to a 10 a.m. meeting. Yeah, Jennifer.
Yes, I have one more question.
Yeah.
So, on my downtime, yes, really, I have downtime. I do marketing for people who start they business off like I make banners and buttons and magnets. So I'm just offering my service to anyone on this line. I know when you're starting off your business or you starting off a program or anything like that, marketing is the most thing that we take out of the budget. So my contact I will put in there if you need any banners or buttons or magnets made. I do them at the library and no cost.
Thank you, Jennifer. I love it. Information share. Come on, community.
Thank you, everyone. I've seen lots and lots of appreciation for Marty in the chat, and I can't stress enough how helpful and approachable she is. I'm sure you got that this morning, but please feel free to reach out. And I have a feeling if you slide into our DMs, if kids still say that, Marty will be the one responding. So if that's easier than sending an email, please feel free to DM us on any platform at Groundwork Ohio. And she's got her email in the chat as well because she's more professional than me. Thank you, Marty, so much. I love advocating and working and communicating with you, and we're just so lucky to have you in this sector.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good morning, y'all.